Welcome. In this video, I want to share with you guys an extremely powerful setup that combines open interest, major flushes on longs with the MACD in a specific way. I think that this will be very helpful for those of you who want to be able to pinpoint bottoms of pullbacks before major trend continuation moves, or at least a significant bounce, which would then allow stop loss movement to break even. So let's go through a bunch of these setups. I'll talk about the indicators and the setup here so you guys can see just how well this works at identifying major bottoms before either huge trend continuation moves or just large bounces. So before getting into all of the details, do want to give a very quick shout out to my affiliates. If you want to trade crypto, indices, commodities, you can check out BingX Exchange. I have an affiliate link in the description. If you want to trade just crypto, Bybit Exchange. So check those out if you're interested in a new exchange. Now let's talk about the indicators first, then we'll get into the actual setups and what I'm actually talking about here. So this is Open Interest Flow Quantified Tools. You can search it, it's free. On TradingView, you can go to other sites to look at open interest, but I like this one because it kind of color codes it. It makes it a bit more simple to explain to the general population about what I'm talking about here. So essentially what we're looking for is a major flush on longs. And so what that will look like with this indicator, if we zoom in, when we see these big green bars going down into this red territory, that would be a major flush on long. So that's how we're going to look at it in just practical terms and for this strategy. So let's go through and look at what happens just based on these big flushes into the red territory. You can see it time and time again. We typically form a major bottom after a large flush on longs. With at least a significant bounce. Now, we can talk about the combination of MACD and these large flushes to actually take an entry with high accuracy before the trend continuation move or the large bounce. So these are the actual entry points that this setup would give you with using the MACD rules that I'm about to explain. So just going through these here. So let's kind of get into the exact setup now. Just starting on the far right here. First thing that this strategy is going to look for is that major flush on long. So getting these green bars going down into the red territory. That's it. Next, after spotting that, is going to be the actual entry trigger, which we'll be using the MACD for. And this is just a default setting MACD. What I want to see then is a higher low cross up below the zero line. So we do get a cross up here, we get a cross up here, but our first higher low cross up right here where I've drawn it in. So MACD higher low cross up, that's the actual entry trigger, the close of that candle. It's where I have that set to the entry, stop loss to the bottom of this pullback, and we get a significant move in the favor here of this trade. So do what you want with this, but these flushes can be added to many different types of strategies. Let's look at another one here. So in this pullback, we do get one of these major flushes, and then we wait for a higher low cross up, which happens with this green arrow. So that's where I have it marked. That is in fact the bottom here before a trend continuation. And then I've put in some other arrows here. This one just marks a big flush on longs into that red territory, but we didn't get the setup on MACD. Nonetheless, we do get that trend continuation out of there after this pullback. Let's go on to another one. So down here, you can see our big flush on the longs here. We actually get another one right here, but our first setup, big flush on longs, then we look for the higher low cross up, which happens right here, where I have the entry marked. I just put the stop loss at the lows here, and then we get a large move in the favor. This one also, we get another flush here. Bottom's already in. And the other one here that I don't have drawn in, we get the higher low cross up on the MACD right here. So on this candle, screen candle here, would be another valid entry for a long. And then I also put the arrow in here just to mark in a large flush on longs, which also happens to be a bottom before a trend continuation move. So you can see how accurate these flushes are. Now let's take a look at some not so great ones in a downtrend. So we do get a significant flush here on this push down, and then the higher low cross up happens right here. We do get a move in the favor, so we break structure here, which would potentially give an opportunity for a stop loss to be moved to break even. Or, this is just kind of talking about how this can be valuable as part of your system, but you can do what you want with the information. We're just looking at how these flushes on longs kind of behave in the market here. And again here, big flush on longs, higher low cross up on MACD. We do get this relief rally. Let's take a look at another one here. So we get the big flush back here. Then we start looking for that higher low cross up on the MACD. We get two higher low crosses up on the MACD below the zero line. So the first one would give entry on this cross up, which happens to coincide with this candle. We get another little move down before we take off to the upside for a trend continuation. But you can see how these flushes often mark very close to the bottom once we combine it with the MACD. And then here's another one, big flush. And then these three arrows are showing the higher low crosses up, which coincide with this point right here, this point right here, and then finally this point right here before we get our rally. So getting near that bottom when we have this sort of setup with the flush and our MACD starts coming to the upside with higher low crosses up, it's very likely that we're going to be seeing a significant bounce, if not trend continuation move very soon. Now let's take a look back here. Big flush into the red here for just one bar. We look for a higher low cross up. We don't get it until the setup over here, and we do get, in fact, a nice move to the upside. Here's another flush on longs, very near the bottom. We get one tiny little poke down, which gives us our higher low cross up before a little rally here. Big flush on longs, higher low cross up right here, marked with green arrow, and we get our rally. Now some of these trend continuation ones, let's take a look here. So this pullback, come down and flush longs. Then we look for a higher low cross up, which happens right here on the MACD. And the bottom's already in, and we take off. Again, this pullback right here, we get our major flush. Then we start looking for our high low cross up under the zero line, which we get right here while the bottom's already in. And we get our trend continuation move. And this one, which our most ridiculous risk to reward ratio. So we actually have a couple or a few flushes here on the longs with the open interest. Here's our first one. Then we start looking for the higher low cross up, and we actually don't get it until over in this area. Another flush on this push down here. Another flush right here on this pullback, but the bottom's already in down here before we take off. And then some of these other ones here that I marked in, we got those flushes. So these flushes did mark the exact bottoms. So there's the one flush here on this pullback, flush on longs, hidden bullish divergence at the same time, and we take off. We don't get the higher low cross up below the zero line though on this pullback. So that's why I didn't put in the risk to reward ratio tool. And then another one with this pullback, We just one bar with the big enough flush into that red territory on the longs. Also a hidden bullish divergence present on that one. And we take off, bottom's marked there. So this is not an exact strategy that I'm presenting here, but something that you can utilize to pinpoint bottoms or potential pauses in a downtrend for a bounce. I think that it's quite valuable information to know when we have a big flush on longs, because that does often mark a major bottom or get very close to marking a major bottoming point in the market. So it's some valuable information. If you don't already look at this type of information, this is a good indicator to kind of easily see what's happening. Of course, this isn't telling you exactly what's happening, but basically when we get a big flush like this, majority of the open interest that's getting closed out is going to be longs closing. So while it might be also some shorts entering or some shorts closing on the way down, profit taking, the majority of this will be a long flush, longs closing their positions on a move down like that. So you can look at other websites to see the open interest information more accurately, but this, as far as a practical purpose goes, tends to help identifying bottoms very well, and it's essentially all that you need to apply it like what I'm showing in this video. So that's it. Just wanted to share this with you guys. You can utilize this however you would like, but just hopefully you can see how well this works in pinpointing bottoms before major trend continuation moves, if not just a significant bounce. So that's it. Thanks guys for watching.